In this video, I'm going to talk about what is the best type of cardio for losing fat. And this is purely for people who just want to focus on losing fat. Somebody who is overweight and who is really struggling to lose fat. They just don't know what they're doing. I'm going to shed some light on it. But first, I have to be honest, my opinion on this topic has changed a lot in many ways. When I was a young whippersnapper of a PT, not really that young, but early to mid 20s, I had the mentality that as long as the cardio was difficult, it was going to be working. And when I first started PTing, I was bodybuilding mad in the head. Bodybuilding. I just thought bodybuilding was great. I competed in men's physique, and I had the mentality that if I was getting up, challenging myself, for me it was getting myself on the Stairmaster and blasting out an hour. Yes, that did help me get absolutely shredded. I'll pop a few photos in here. And I took that same approach towards my clients. I would just say to them, look, if you're waking up every day, you're coming in, you're training hard, and then you're jumping on the Stairmaster, this is a brilliant way of building you as a person. You're getting lean and you're doing it with the most resistance. Getting on the Stairmaster for an hour it's heartbreaking. I couldn't do it now. Not a chance would that be happening. But I think as I've gotten a little bit older, wiser, I've got more skin in the game as a PT. There's definitely more compassion for people who are struggling with their weight. That my views on cardio for fat loss has changed, particularly those who are very overweight. Now, don't get me wrong, when I first started PTing and I was getting people to do this, it absolutely worked. They would get insane results, go from being very fat to chubby to getting pretty lean. The only thing with that, it's very hard to maintain because you've been killing yourself for 16, 12 weeks. It's very hard to keep that intensity up. And as I got a little bit older, maybe shifted away from competing myself, my views on it changed. That realistically, the correct answer for what's the best type of cardio for losing fat would be the cardio that you enjoy the most. Or is it? For example, I would have had clients that loved doing things like CrossFit, loved playing sport, but they're severely overweight. What tends to happen with people who are doing cardio that is full of high intensity, who are overweight, or sport that's going to be competitive, is that the risk of injury is going to be very high. And when someone gets injured when they're losing fat, they go right back to square one. Training goes out the window, cardio goes out the window, obviously they're injured. Nutrition definitely goes out the window. Their physical activity probably decreases right down to next to nothing, because outside of doing work and things like that, because essentially they're out of action. They can't use their body without feeling pain. So I don't think that cardio should be something that you enjoy most, but something that isn't going to cause you a lot of resistance or potentially cause you an injury. I think, in my opinion, that just walking. Most people can do it, walking or some light cycling. We don't want to go too hard when you're doing this. You want to keep it nice and easy. If you want to be scientific about it, somebody who is trying to burn fat doing low intensity, steady state cardio, they want to keep their heart rate, for me it might be between 125 beats per minute to 135 beats per minute. That would be ideal for me burning fat. As you get older, the numbers come down slightly. Younger, might be closer to 140, in and around that number. I totally get it. Going out for a walk at the end of a busy day or after a hard training session, it can be pretty boring. Doing things like interval training, yes, it's sweaty, it's over quickly, but is it serving you in the best way possible? For example, I had this client, I'll not say their real name, we'll just call them Sheila. Get in her mid 40s, had a good bit of weight to lose, really enjoyed things like interval training, HIIT training. She enjoyed going out for runs. She did a lot of CrossFit, and hats off to her. She was a fit woman, but she still had a lot of fat. She was like fat fit. And what we discovered after working with each other for a couple of months was that when she would finish a bout of high intensity interval training or after going for a long run, because her body is using glycogen, carbohydrates, for energy. After these runs, she'd get very hungry. This is where cravings start to become a bit of an issue. And we realized, even though she was on a pretty flexible diet plan, that diet plan would slowly but surely, from the start of the week to the end of the week, start to go out the window. And this is a classic example when it comes to your choice of cardio. Fair enough, she loves doing these things, but the things that she is doing are not serving her. They're not pushing her towards her goal. They actually ended up being the one thing that was holding her back from losing fat, from getting into the dress size that she wanted to get into for Christmas. Although these things are brilliant for community and you feel like you're working up such a sweat, and they do make you fit, cardio should revolve around what is the thing that is going to serve you best, what's going to help you get the best results, what's going to help you stay on plan, stay on the game plan that you've set yourself, which is going to give you what you want. It's not always the most exciting, but here's the thing about fat loss. It isn't exciting. The process of it is not exciting to most people. I find it very interesting. It's my job, but I'm not like most people. I would say maybe I'm a bit of an odd fuck, would be a good way to describe me. But for most everyday people, they just want to get results in the most enjoyable way possible. A lot of the times people forget that sometimes you're just going to have to do things that you really don't want to do or you don't find very interesting. If that person, Sheila, was able to control her cravings, able to control her eating habits with that type of cardio, she would have 100% lost the weight. This just was not the case for her. It was the one thing that was holding her back and making her unhappy. The thing she loved doing most was making her unhappy, believe it or not. So look, in my opinion, the best type of cardio for fat loss, if you just purely want to focus on losing weight, and that isn't going to cause you to get any cravings, injuries, going to throw you off track in any way, shape or form, is going to be walking. Something nice and easy. Probably the best way to do it is just go on a treadmill. The treadmill controls the pace. You can control the gradient as being how high you want to set it to as a hill, and you just go for a walk. Is there a magic number? No. There's no magic amount of steps that works for everybody. It's really down to where you're at right now and where you need to be. A quick example of this, people who are tradesmen and nurses get shafted with this. They're already on their feet all day. They already have a manual job. They're already doing a lot of steps throughout the day, but they are overweight. Not all tradesmen are overweight and nurses are overweight. I'm just putting that out there right now. I'm just using this as an example based off the clients that I've worked with in the past. But because they're already so physically active, they end up having to do a little bit more with their training, nutrition and recovery just to get results that they're going to be satisfied with after all the work that they've put in. So look, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe. I'm trying to pump these videos out. It is difficult. I'm working a full-time job. Did I tell you I'm a PT? And yeah, let me know what your favorite type of cardio is to lose fat. And if you agree or disagree with me in this video, take care. See you in the next one.